Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm PJ.
And I'm Mike.
And today is a summer movie kickoff special, or fall movie kickoff special. We did one of these last year where we kind of went through all of the upcoming movies for Blockbuster season. And if you remember last year, we were calling it the summer of sequels. We had so many sequels last year. Well, I think it's the summer of sequel part 2.
Again, it's a sequel to last summer. So, guys, we're going to go from May of this year, 2025, to about November. We have a lot of movies to get to. These are not all the movies. There are more movies that are being released, but these are basically the big ones.
The big ones.
Yeah. So, and along the way, folks, PJ and I are going to discuss our reactions to some of the trailers that we've seen for some of these films. And if we think these movies are actually going to be good, they're going to be hits, they're going to be flops, drops, who knows? Stop, drop, and roll. We're gonna figure out along the way. But
and also, as we're going through it, I don't know about you, but I know which ones I plan on seeing in the theaters and which ones I plan. So we're gonna go through that too. We'll kind of talk about which ones we think we might actually want to spend money on.
Exactly. Yeah. And PJ, before we get to the list, I want to just quickly say this. I saw it's been going around that like all the movie industry is like, how do we get people back into the theaters? They're adding pickleball, they're adding bowling alleys to.
It's unbelievable.
And I just want to be like, guys, if you want people back in the theaters, number one, you have to make it more affordable. I mean, I don't think it should be $25 to see a film.
Crazy.
Charging convenience fees, just make good movies. And you got to just hype it up. You got to do with Oppenheimer. You got to, in the whole Barbie thing, you got to make it feel eventful. The movie has to be worth it. I mean, those Marvel films, we talk this all the time. Most of them are just solid films. They're not mind-blowing. Some are really, really great. They're exceptional. But most of them are just kind of solid films. But there was like such a need to see them in the theaters. There's so much anticipation, and you got to do that. And you can't just release these movies a month after it's released on streaming. You can't.
No, because then why would I spend the money in the theater when a month
You got to
later,
do it like a year later goes on there. You got to do it. So, but anyway, moving right along. So, folks, we're starting with May, and this is pretty much the order that I got online. I think I got it from Entertainment Weekly of the order. So, we're starting with May. So, the first movie that comes out, I don't have the exact date, in May, but it's the Thunderbolts, Marvel's Thunderbolts. PJ, you gonna bolt out of the theater?
I've said this in other episodes when we talk about comic book movies. I have to see them in the theater. I don't have a choice, because I'm the comic book guy in the comic book store, so people are going to want to talk to me about the movie. So if I don't see it when it comes out, it puts me at a disadvantage in the shop. So yeah, I will be spending my hard-earned cash to see this movie.
Right. And this movie, right, is a sequel to Black Widow, right? Am I right? Am I getting confused with something else?
So it's going to have a lot of people from Black Widow in it. It's going to have Bucky in it also. Essentially, what this movie is, from what I'm gathering from all the previews and what I've read about it, right? It's really the first step of bringing the Avengers back. It appears that, spoiler alert for anyone who maybe didn't see Captain America, the newest one.
Right.
In that movie,
Brave New World.
Yep. It was not that brave, I'll tell you that. The Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, General Ross, played by Harrison Ford, he's the president. And he mentions in the movie he wants to bring back the Avengers, and his name is Thunderbolt Ross. The idea that I think this movie is about, from what I'm seeing, is they're the Thunderbolts because his name is Thunderbolt,
right? But
they're really his new Avengers. Now, the movie ends with him not the president anymore, so they probably won't be called the Thunderbolts for the entire movie, is my guess. But it's basically his new version of, the world needs to see these heroes because that's just what the world wants to see. And they're handpicked for whatever purpose. That's what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, I didn't see Black Widow. From just going by the trailer, for me, my voice cracked. I'm the guy from The Simpsons. Oh, sir. At the cool kids table, we're still going through puberty. But I think for some reason, just from that trailer, I think this movie's actually going to be just solid. It's not going to be awful like Snow White, or I think it's going to be better than Brave New World. I'm just going by calling as I see. I think it's not going to be mind-blowing. It's just going to be fine. Probably forgettable, but it's going to be fine.
I don't think it'll be bad.
I
don't think it'll be a bad movie. I think
it's might break even.
It'll make money. All of these Marvel movies, for the most part, make enough money on the first weekend. And I don't think this will not be the exception to that rule. People are going to go see it. You have Bucky back in it. You at least have a character that people remember from when the movies were good,
Right.
leading the pack. So that'll bring people in.
Yep.
It'll have action. It'll have whatever. There'll be a post-credit scene. We're finally starting to get a feeling of what the overarching storyline is going to be. So that'll bring people in again. Now that they did, I mean, I'm sure everyone saw that big Marvel reveal with all the people for Avengers Doomsday. I mean, people are hyped for it, right? So that's going to bring people into the next Avengers movie. That's the best trailer that this movie could have had, is showing what's coming up and getting people hyped about it. So this movie's going to make money. It'll be fine. I'll see it. Everyone's going to see it, and we're going to just walk out the same way we walk out of all the most recent Marvel movies, saying, well, it was a Marvel movie again.
Yep. The next we have in May is, I only put this on the list because I didn't even know they were still making these films. The Final Destination and the horror films. It's Final Destination and Bloodlines. So I don't even know when the last one was made. I want to feel like almost early 2000s.
Yeah, I feel like it's been forever.
So I don't know if this is a reboot, possibly. I have no clue. Did no research, but yeah, folks, Final Destination is coming back. And there's another old school horror film that is making its return, but which we'll get to later on. Moving right along, PJ.
Well, just real quick, just so we keep track of this, we've gone through 2 movies. We had Thunderbolts and Final Destination. We are 2 for 2 on movies that are essentially sequels again.
Right, and we're getting into reboots.
Yeah.
Or remakes. Okay, so the next one is a live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch.
Oh my, yeah.
So, PJ, let me tell you something. I did actually enjoy the trailer. However, you know what my biggest negative of it is? You're gonna guess. I feel like you might know.
I don't know. What is it? The voice?
No.
I thought he sounded like Stitch.
Mm-hmm.
What's the negative?
I'm really kind of sad they did CGI Stitch. I really thought they were gonna
they couldn't get a real one.
I know, but I mean, like
a puppet,
a puppet. I really thought that would be this is like the perfect time for them to do it. You can pull it off, and of course you use some CGI for different scenes, But I was really astonished because Grogu in the Mandalorian, that's a puppet.
That's a puppet, yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't really capitalize on that kind of. They know it works.
I think the reason they probably didn't is Stitch is so animated. You know what I mean? Like, Grogu doesn't move that much. He shakes his head, he picks up his arm, blinks a little bit. But Stitch is just so hyper and animated and jumping and running.
Yeah.
That's probably the reason they didn't.
But I agree what you're saying, but I feel like at the same time, you couldn't do some up-close shots when they're like face-to-face.
Oh, they could have. Absolutely.
Just had they did it with E.T., man. You know what I mean? I don't know. I thought it would have been a bit more charming.
No, I agree. They could have found a way, but I'm guessing it was probably they didn't put the work in.
Gremlins, kind of do it in that realm. But anyway, I'm excited to see it. I love Roger Rabbit. So do you. So
yeah, I don't know if this is what I'm going to see in the theaters, though. I might wait for this to be on Disney Plus. I think it'll be fine. I don't think this is one where they're really going to change the story on you too much. What could they really do?
This is going to be a shot for shot kind of thing.
And I just feel like I can wait to see that.
But it even goes back to the other alien creatures. You could have done a Men in Black. They have guys, and I feel like it just doesn't. I don't know. They could have just done. I think the movie would have looked. Look, I haven't seen it yet, but just from the trailer, I don't know.
I did like when Stitch showed up at the Super Bowl. Did you see that when he was running on the field?
Yeah.
Was pretty funny,
that scene you can use CGI, but I mean, I don't know, have the best of both worlds kind of thing. Anyway, and I think the movie's gonna make a lot of money though. Maybe not. I don't think it's gonna break records or anything, but it's gonna make.
It'll make money. Absolutely.
It'll be solid. It's based off a solid film. It should be solid. It should be solid.
So we're 3 for 3 on sequels and remakes and reboots so far. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is, and this is going to be a trend we're going to see this year, guys. It's the final Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. That's with Tom Cruise, Part 2. So this is the last one. And I actually do like the Mission Impossible movies, most of them. I didn't see Reckoning. They're kind of fun, throwback action.
I like the old ones, like the first 1 and 2, maybe even 3. After a while, I kind of fell off of the franchise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the final. I think it's the last one, Reckoning. The first one. I'm talking about this part 1. I think it got overshadowed with Oppenheimer.
Was that the one with Henry Cavill?
No, I think that's called either Fallout or I think
that
it's
was 2
Fallout.
movies ago. Then.
Yeah. Which was a solid film. That was fun.
Okay.
This movie was completely blanked out of the way by Oppenheimer and Barbie. It just
Yeah.
put it. Because I heard it wasn't actually a bad movie. I heard it was actually fun, but
Sure, it was
I
just
didn't see
like
it.
all the other ones. There's probably
Yep.
some action. Look, I don't
Yep.
hate Tom Cruise. People hate him.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
Yeah, I don't understand.
I think he's a good enough actor. I got no issues with Tom Cruise
Yeah,
and
and I like all his
his
movies.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a good actor. I'm sure this
Yeah.
will be fine. It's another one I'm going to wait to watch on TV. I'm not going to rush to the theaters to see it, but I'll watch it.
I think this movie is going to underperform again.
Yep.
Sadly, even if it's solid, just like the first one, it's going to underperform. But it's a final film, which, like I said, we're going to keep going along.
So we 4 for 4 on sequels and remakes? So far?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, well, here's another one.
Okay.
Another one. Here's the Avengers of this world, of this
boy.
universe, the Karate Kid Legends. This has Jackie Chan, Ralph Macchio. I'm not sure if
Man,
Jaden
do I have
Smith is in
thoughts
it.
on this movie.
This movie, bro, I think it's gonna have a good opening weekend, and it's gonna drop real big. Because I don't think this
I don't think it's going to be good.
I don't exactly. It looks very like direct to TV, direct to DVD kind of feel. It looks forgettable. It looks cheesy, and not in the good way, not in a charming way.
Here's what's going to hurt this movie, in my opinion. Okay.
Mhm.
Cobra Kai is a great show. I love Cobra Kai.
Right.
Everyone seems to love Cobra Kai, right? And the reason you love Cobra Kai isn't because of Daniel LaRusso anymore. It's because of Johnny Lawrence. And it's because of the kids. And it's because of the world they built on that show. And this feels like you're just completely ignoring that.
Right.
I don't think it's what people want to see anymore. I don't think anyone wants to see Daniel LaRusso having a new sensei or a new, it's just not, it doesn't feel like it connected to the Miyagi verse in a way that people want. And that's, I love
Yeah.
that. It doesn't feel like it.
Oh
I
my
think people are going to
God.
go into this and they're going to be like, this isn't what I wanted. It's going to be cheesy. It's going to be,
It just, I don't even like how it's not even like this way it's filmed. It just looks very
no,
like
it just looks
TV quality, like cinematography.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not going to be what people want. And I know they said they're trying to expand the franchise and there might be another
Right.
show at some point. And
Right. I never seen Cobra Kai, but
I love Cobra Kai.
Right. I'm just going by the first original Karate Kids, the first three, not counting the one with what's her name?
Hilary Swank,
Yeah, that one.
the
That one
next
was
Karate Kid.
right. So I'm just saying with those films, like they didn't really. There was karate, but those weren't really action films. Those were like stories, and I feel like this
Right.
movie they're trying to make it more like an action karate. I'm like, you can't pull that off, man. You gotta, anyway.
The
This doesn't
allure
work.
of Karate Kid and even Cobra Kai, right, is that all of this drama that's happening in these movies, like the story, right? It's all centered around a karate tournament for teenagers. You know what I mean? Like that's what, and this doesn't feel like that. And I think that's why it's going to fail because it doesn't have the same feeling as the other ones because it's not about it. Maybe it will be. I haven't seen the movie yet, but from what I'm seeing, I don't feel like this is going to be about a karate tournament for teenagers causing all this drama. And I don't need to see a 50-year-old Daniel LaRusso doing anything.
Yeah. Like I said, it all goes back to the tone. Like I'm just not really feeling this tone from this trailer.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think it's gonna do well the first.
I'm sure it
weekend,
will. It's going to because all the Cobra Kai fans are going to go see it.
Right, and then it's gonna drop though. It's gonna drop.
Yep.
Big significant drop. Might make its money back, maybe a little bit over. And I think it's either gonna be like a solid film or not.
I think it's just
like
gonna be
horrendous. Yeah.
It's just going to be so we're through with May and we're 5 for 5 on sequels, reboots, and remakes. Okay.
Exactly. And those are the big ones, folks, in May. There are other movies like independent films that are being released in theaters, but I figured for
Those are the
today's
big ones.
topic, yeah, those are the big ones. Okay, so now, folks, we're in June. Now, PJ, I am somewhat excited and also at the same time somewhat bored with this idea. It's called Ballerina.
Is this
which
the John Wick?
Yes, it's another one in the universe, John Wick's universe. So it's starring Ana de Armas. She's the girl from Blade Runner 2049.
Yep.
She's very pretty. She actually has some comedy flair too. She's good. So just to give, I did like the trailer. I'll tell you what my favorite part of the trailer. I like the trailer because I like that everyone likes the whole John Wick world. The way that works, the hotel, all that and da 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 da. It's fun. It's a nice new universe that they've made. It's nice. It's something new. Which is cool about this is I don't know from the trailer, she's just another assassin, another hitman. But in the movie, I guess she goes rogue or whatever she does. I guess at some point in the movie, John Wick, Keanu Reeves, I think this takes place earlier in that universe. I guess it's somewhat of a prequel, whatever, I don't know. But they actually sent him out to get her. So he switches his role, and now he's an antagonist. So, which is a nice twist. If I have to make a prediction, they probably team up, or they find some kind of code in their world, like, you don't have to do this, like.
If I have to make a prediction, it starts off, like you said, where this is a prequel sort of a situation.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is going to end with us finding out Mr. Wick not quite so dead.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay.
That's what I think the twist is. That moves you right into John Wick. What are we up to, 12?
Well,
I think it's 5.
It feels like that. Yeah. Now this would be technically 5, and as our folks and we recommend folks into our past episodes. PJ, I think I can speak for you. Both he and I did not like John Wick 3. I thought 3 was the worst one out of that 4 quadrilogy, whatever they call it. Number 4 was very, very weak. Did not like how that whole movie really overall.
That movie, awesome. That movie suffers from a 45-minute fight on a flight of stairs, and it was.
But there's other things that are,
there's a lot in that movie. No, I agree. I agree.
So, but PJ, I'm not really sure. Look, I like Ana de Armas. Part of me, I don't want to sound sexist or anything, but they didn't really show many action scenes. Like, she uses a gun. I just hope she doesn't do too much hand-to-hand combat. I know Ruby Rose and John Wick 2, she had a good fight scene with Keanu Reeves, but you always felt that he has the strength of a man and he's beating her.
Right.
I hope with this, a part of what makes John Wick look cool, because you kind of feel that he's always outwitting, he's using his strength. But this guy who's very big, you can, he had to so I just hope they don't do too much of a,
I think they'll do a solid job with it. I'm going to probably see this one in the theaters, or I'm going to try to, because I do like the John Wick universe. I think this one has potential. We are now 6 for 6 on things that are connected to other movies, reboots, sequels.
Yeah. My worry is this movie gets a little, because John Wick can be cheesy at times, but it works. They know how to pay it off. Like, he knows how to, not everyone can say those lines. I just hope. Right. Like I say, always goes for that tone. And I just want to note that this one is directed by Len Wiseman. So that's the guy who did, his most well-known film is, The Underworld, with Kate
Len Wiseman? Didn't he do one of the Die Hards?
Maybe the 4, 5, or 6, whatever.
I think he did one of the Die Hards.
Yeah, so he's pretty solid. So I think that makes sense. You have a female lead doing action, so yeah, I think it could be good. I think he done maybe Resident Evil potentially too. One of this Resident Evil, that's like that kind of realm.
I think this movie is going to be good enough. I mean, I don't think it'll be as good as the John Wick 1 or 2.
Yes,
but I think it'll be entertaining. I think people will generally like it. Anything in this universe seems to be, even the weakest one is still watchable. So
yes,
I think this movie will be solid. It'll make some money.
Yep.
People will enjoy it. I think it will inevitably bring us to a John Wick 5.
Yes. Oh yeah. Supposedly they're working on a deal with him to do it. The next film. So this is, I guess, we're gonna call another remake or sequel.
PJ, oh my God, there's so many. We're 7 for 7.
All right, so our next one is How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action film, and I just saw the first 2, maybe the past.
I love the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. They're great. They're really good.
And I've heard from another channel, a Film Threat, that YouTube channel. I guess they saw a preview. He couldn't really review it. He just said it's basically a legitimate 100% shot-for-shot remake, where it's almost identical.
Here's the thing. Here's my problem with this. And I will eventually watch this one, and I don't know where, if it'll be the theaters or not. I don't know that it was needed. What was wrong with keeping this as a really excellent animated film?
I think
what was wrong with that?
I think the same thing. Well, number one, they're in the business of making money. Universal just is coming out with their new park, Epic Universe, where they have a whole
dragon section
world. Yeah, so they need to, get it back into the mainstream. And look, it goes back to what I said about Lilo and Stitch. I really kind of hoped that they were gonna have some puppetry, and they don't have. It just seems like like I said, obviously you can't have them flying on these things, but look, they did it with a never-ending story. I was hoping maybe this movie could have really benefited from a labyrinth, that kind of Jim Henson kind of.
Yeah.
That kind of. I feel like this movie would have looked more, and especially when you do.
He has such a bond between him and the dragon that you want to be able to actually see him interacting with.
Yeah, rubbing around his in the fur.
Yeah.
I really felt like this is I always feel movies that are when it comes to CGI, certain type of films look better with like, hear me out, like science fiction films, I think benefit from CGI, and something that takes place in medieval times or that kind of fantasy X world with dragons. It looks better when things are like handmade. This puppet just makes that world seem more real, And
what I think it is
whimsical.
I think it's a
So,
trick of the brain, right? It's like,
yes,
technology doesn't exist back then. So if something feels very technologically heavy,
yes,
I think that's what it
sucks
is.
it out.
Yeah, I
The
agree
same
with
thing,
that.
like I love like the original Clash of the Titans, like that old like Ray Harryhausen like
Yeah,
special effects, like him fighting Medusa, and when they remake it with the guy from Avatar, just doesn't look.
right. No, I get where you're coming from with that.
But I think it's gonna be solid. I think it's gonna make a lot of money too. I think it's
Oh,
gonna
I
make
think it'll
it's
make.
gonna be very good.
I think it'll make some money.
It's gonna make a lot of money. I think it's gonna make more money than Lilo and Stitch. Not
Oh, that's a
by a little
bold
much,
prediction.
not by not a lot, but a little bit more, a little
That's a
bit
bold
more.
prediction. We'll see what happens with that.
The next movie I'm actually kind of excited for is called F1. That's the Formula One racing movie. It's starring Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem.
So not a sequel, remake, or
Not
reboot?
a sequel, PJ. We finally
Oh my
got
god! So now we're
one.
7 for 8. We didn't get one. All right.
We finally got one. And the guy who's directing is Joseph Kosinski. He's the guy who did Top Gun Maverick, so he can make action films. And the reason why I'm excited for F1 is some of my favorite movies in the past, I'll say, decade have been, I love Ford versus Ferrari, and I love the movie Rush. That was 2 Formula One racing movies, and they're both based off of true stories. I don't think this one's based off a true story, but I really like those films. I don't have an interest in NASCAR, nothing like that, but those movies were great. They were really, really great, and I think F1
I don't
is
really
good.
know anything about this movie because the car movies don't always speak to me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I would
it's got a
definitely
good
recommend
cast.
those movies though. I mean, you don't have to like
Yeah.
racing. And I think this movie leans more towards like a Days of Thunder kind of feel,
Right.
where it's not. Like I said, I don't think it's not based off a true story. It's a little bit more of a.
Okay.
It's an action car racing movie. So,
Right.
but yeah, I think it could be
All right.
good. I think it's gonna make. I think it's gonna make its money back. Kind of like it kind of reminds me of in terms of like if it's gonna make money like his movie Bullet Train, which I haven't seen. I heard that's a very good movie. I think it's gonna make that same amount of money. Like,
all right.
They're kind of just
I have very little interest in that one, and the next one I have very little interest in also.
Right, so it's another sequel. It's Megan, which is a horror film.
Yep.
Which was a big hit. I know it's kind of almost. I guess it's like the. I guess I'll say them in the realm of like Child's Play and like Chucky the doll. I guess she's like a robotic doll, and
I just have very little interest in it. I don't know.
Yeah, horror films always seem to be the big thing the past 25 years.
People love a good horror film. I mean, AMC hypes them up with their thrills and chills stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I'm an AMC Gold member. I have a Stubbs Gold membership.
PJ. Okay.
And they do a lot of, I don't know if you've seen the Screen and Scream Unscenes. They do a lot of like pre-releases for horror movies and things like that. And people seem to love horror movies. And I like a good horror movie. Not to say I don't. I just have very little interest in this one.
Yeah, these type of horror films I don't like. I feel like they're all the same. The Conjuring and all those others. I found this. They're all like, and to me, they're all The Nun. Oh man. But anyway, there's nothing else to say. It's probably gonna make a lot of money. Horror films always do well. So
8 out of 9 sequels, reboots, and remakes so far.
I think it's gonna be fine. And I predict another dance scene because I think the first one, that doll had a dance scene that basically I think it was what put that movie on the map was that dance scene of that doll. So
not for me, that one. I'm not going to see that one in the movies or on TV.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, that one's definitely not. So now we're in July, folks. Now this is probably the big shebang of movies of the year. Okay, so we're starting off, PJ, with Jurassic Park Rebirth, which is another sequel and reboot.
Shaking my head. 9 out of 10.
PJ, did you see the trailer?
I did.
Multiple
times.
I don't know who's directing it. Actually, no, I lied. I think it's was it Trevorrow? Colin Trevorrow? I think it's him.
Is it him again?
I think it's him. Yeah, I think it's him. I'm pretty sure it's him. I'll
look it up right now.
I'm trying to think of the word to describe this film. This film, I got it.
Needless.
This film, when I saw the trailer, reminded me. I think it's gonna be a little bit better quality.
Gareth Edwards will be directing.
Oh, Gareth Edwards. Okay,
Gareth Edwards.
Okay, I was wrong. So I think this is the guy who I think he did Cloverfield. I think he did that.
He
right.
did Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
I think Godzilla. Right.
He did Godzilla in 2014.
Yep.
Yeah, he has some good hits. He did the last. It says he did the Gareth Edwards, British filmmaker. I don't know what he had to do with The Last Jedi. He didn't have anything to do with that.
Maybe he was originally gonna do it.
Who knows? Yeah, it's on one of his things. But it looks like his big thing is he did Godzilla, and looks like he might have done a Star Wars story, Rogue One, something to do with that.
Right.
Oh, man,
PJ, this film, I love the Jurassic Park series.
I like the first two.
I don't like Lost World. I love Jurassic Park
yeah, I
1.
like the first and third.
Yeah, I love first and third. I like Jurassic World. I enjoy Jurassic World. But the others, I never saw Jurassic Park. What's it called? Jurassic World Dominion.
Dominion.
The one that's the last one in the new trilogy. I did not see. It sounded horrendous. Because I hated the second one where it's like cloning and there's girls in it. A girl, she's half. Whatever. I don't remember. It's forgettable.
It's the problem with this movie. The problem with any Jurassic Park movie at this point is there is no human being on Earth anymore that would go back to this island.
Right.
And it just makes the movie feel so like unwatchable and contrived. Like we need to find another reason to go back to the island where we know we're going to get eaten.
Right. The only positive like that I like that it's not them opening the park goes crazy kind of thing. Like, all right, they have to go back to retrieve DNA. They have to literally take a needle and extract DNA from like the dinosaurs. They have to go to a different site, and I think there's like a mutant dinosaur that they have to.
It's so stupid. We're creating new dinosaurs because we're out of dinosaurs. These things didn't.
Right. Know what this movie reminds me of is Alien versus Predator.
Like
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I do like that movie because I love Predator. But like, I feel like this movie it stars Scarlett Johansson. She's like the muscle in the film. She's some kind of military sniper. She's gonna snipe some pterodactyls like that.
I'm gonna see this movie because I see every Jurassic Park out of just habit and blind loyalty to the first movie. So I will see this movie, and this movie will make a ton of money because Jurassic Park movies usually make a pretty good amount of money. This movie is so unnecessary, and I do not think it's going to be good.
Right.
I do not think this movie will have any redeemable qualities.
You think it's going to make more money than the last two? Because the last two didn't perform as well.
It's still gonna.
The sequel to Jurassic World did well because like everyone loved the hype of the first one. Then it dropped, and then the third one did not have a lot of.
I think it'll do better than that third Jurassic World.
Right.
I think Scarlett Johansson's a big enough star to bring some people in. People like her. I just think you're going to watch it and it's going to be one of those movies where you shake your head the whole time, be like, what am I watching? The last movie ended, by the way, and I don't know if this movie's going to pick up on it at all, but it ended with dinosaurs loose in America. Like they were now just wild animals.
Oh, yeah, right.
And that's how it ends.
And there's like bugs. There's like a locust like subplot. Yeah. There's like bugs or something like that. Had to bring back bugs.
Yeah. I don't know how you're going to ignore that. So if the plot of this movie doesn't involve them trying to figure out how to deal with dinosaurs loose in America, I don't know why we're having this movie. Like, why would you introduce that plot point and then not be the next movie? Because that's a really big revelation.
Right. Yeah.
At the end of the movie to find out that dinosaurs are like coyotes. They're just walking in Arizona.
Right.
I don't know how you don't follow up on that. And if the plot of the movie is we have to go back to the dinosaur island again to find DNA to make more are we trying to make a dinosaur to eat the other? What are we doing?
Right.
The movie should be about like people can't leave their homes because dinosaurs are just walking down the street.
Yeah, like the Purge. Right. Like it's about like it takes place like in a neighborhood and like they're all stuck there and they're surrounded by like
dinosaurs and everyone's afraid to leave the home because they have a T-Rex in the forest.
Right.
I don't know how that's not this movie, which makes for at least a different movie. Because if we're going back to the island, it's the same movie again. Whatever contrived idea we came up with to get back to this island, once you're at the island, it's the same fucking movie again.
As I say, PJ, life finds a way. So
yeah.
There's always going to be a sequel. There's always going to be a sequel. I think the next film PJ is probably most excited for. It's the new reboot of Superman. Another reboot.
I can't wait.
So it's James Gunn's Superman. They just released, folks, at this time period, I guess an extended.
Yeah, like a 5-minute sort of clip.
Yeah, so I think if folks just give what happens is, in the clip, Superman, you're assuming gets beat up some kind of fight. And then his dog takes him, and then near the
brings him to the fortress.
And his I guess his butlers of robotic.
Those are the Superman robots.
Right, the
straight from the comic books. The Superman robots making an appearance in a movie is awesome.
Yep, and they help him out, and then they nurse him back to health. So
and then they just show some quick clips of him doing some shit,
running around.
Well, I think some of those scenes I think were straight from the first teaser they put out.
Yes.
Yeah, so not too much new there. Look, here's what I'm going to say about this movie. So much of this movie feels like a Superman movie, which you couldn't necessarily say. And I love Man of Steel. I've said it on this show. I love Man of Steel. But there was a lot about Man of Steel that didn't feel like a Superman movie. So much of this.
Well, your same argument that you feel like the Christopher Nolan films don't feel like Batman films. For me, those Superman films do not feel like Superman films at all.
This movie feels like it's bright, it's colorful. You know, they show him saving people, which is always nice to see Superman do.
Right.
They're giving you elements like Crypto, which is, again, a thing from the comic books. The Fortress of Solitude in this one is back to being the ice.
Yeah, I love that
It's not like he didn't really have a fortress in the other ones. It was like just a weird spaceship thing. It wasn't.
Yeah, so ugly.
Yeah. And this one has that feeling of the Richard Donner movies, but updated. It's just a lot going on in these trailers that really make me like what I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel. I know what you mean. I think it's channeling. For me, it's channeling some of the Donner films. For me, it's also channeling. I'm getting like some like the early X-Men films with Bryan Singer. You know, like kind of because those movies, had like a charm to it. So I do feel like there's some charm to this. For me, I think it really falls. I don't know the actor's name who's playing Superman.
David Cornsweet or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
You know,
who was in Top Gun Maverick?
Oh, okay. I know which one he was. I can't recall.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Top Gun Maverick. He was in Twisters.
Oh. Yeah, for me, I just, obviously Christopher Reeves is like the best. He was so charming, as Superman. I feel like, he's kind of like, I don't know, he was just so good, Christopher Reeves. And I liked Henry Cavill. Unfortunately, I think the scripts never really allowed him to really truly blossom into a great Superman. I think he had the look, clearly. And
definitely had the look, yeah.
The energy and everything like that. I think he had that. But I feel like he never really had the dialogue to really feel.
Because he wasn't in a movie where he gets to be
the
Superman you want him to be. He just didn't have it. And like I said, I love Man of Steel, but this one feels more like your traditional Superman movie. I love what they're doing with Crypto. I think that's going to be super fun to see. I like that Superman is going to be potentially more of an optimist movie because he is Superman. I have a lot of good feelings about, and I also do not like James Gunn usually. So I went into this when they first announced him, like, I'm going to hate this movie because I do not like the Guardians movies. But this one, it seems like he has a good handle on it.
So, PJ, let me ask you this. I don't know his entire catalog, James Gunn, but do you think this is going to be more of a Guardians? Do you think this will be more like the Suicide Squad, which is
I don't think it's going to feel like either one of those. I think he's coming at this, from what I've read and what I've seen, with a different mindset. I think it'll be lighthearted the way that Guardians makes you laugh a little bit. Like, I think it'll have that, but I don't think it's going to feel like a Guardians movie. It seems like he's taking a different approach, and it seems like that approach is honor the comic books, which he didn't do in any of the other movies, really. And it seems like that's the approach, and that's what he's kind of said in the interviews that he's done. He's picking things straight from the books that he knows people likes because he wants to give the people the Superman that they were missing. And so I think it's going to feel different than those other movies, aside from the fact that I do think he'll put in some more jokes than maybe we would be used to in a Superman movie. The suit, originally, I didn't like the suit, but it looks a little better when they're showing the more of these
it's okay.
clips. It looks a little better than I thought. The suit itself is actually straight from the New 52 comic books that they did in DC around 2011. It's a straight pull from the comic books, except for the S, which he changed to be a hybrid of the regular colors with the Kingdom Come S. But he's taking, like I said, he's just taking stuff that people have seen for years on the page and putting it on the screen, which is something they haven't done for Superman probably since Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot going for it. Christopher Reeve will always be the best Superman. No one's ever going to top him. You know what I mean? And they've remade Batman a million times. And, people might have a favorite Batman, or maybe your favorite Batman is Michael Keaton. Maybe it's Christian Bale. And there's reasons why either one of them maybe could be considered like the best Batman, right? With Superman, there's been so many Supermen And Christopher Reeve is still the best. You can't top the perfection.
Yeah.
And I think that's what hurts a lot of these Superman movies.
Yeah, I mean, all the Superman, the best Superman films are with Christopher Reeves, and even the sequels after that were getting kind of, down for him. He was always good, but there haven't really been great Superman films.
I do think
And
Superman works better as a TV show than a movie.
I know
And
what you mean.
I think for some reason that character lends itself to TV shows because he can't. There's very few villains that you're going to put on Superman that he can't just punch and win. So the thing with Superman has to be all character building and storytelling to make the movies really great. And I feel like you could tell more of that in a long form storytelling than you can in a 2-hour movie. With Batman, the drama in Batman is he has to fight a bad guy and he's a guy so he can lose. And you can tell that story in 2.5 hours because that's the drama right there. With Superman, he's just going to punch the bad guy and win. We know that.
Yeah.
So you need something to add that anxiety, that stress into the story. And in 2.5 hours, where it's a superhero movie, inevitably he just has to punch the bad guy and win. I feel like that's why they fall short because there's not enough time to build a story compelling enough that you have something to hook onto. And I think it works. Like Smallville went for 10 seasons. Lois and Clark, I think, went for 4 or 5 seasons. Adventures of Superman with George Reeves went for 5, 6 seasons. And those are all, I mean, Lois and Clark maybe a little bit less, but even Superman and Lois, 4 seasons on WB, all of those shows are generally considered entertaining, successful TV shows, whereas his movies aren't. So I just think the character lends itself better to TV than movies.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you can do. I think it can be pulled off.
It can be done.
Just think they haven't done it right. I think for this film, it's gonna make a lot of money. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which movie's gonna make the most this year. I really don't know. It could, I think last year, I think it was Inside Out too. So I don't really
I think
know,
it was Inside Out too.
I'm not sure if this movie's gonna make more money than Jurassic Park.
I think it'll make more money than Jurassic Park. I think your top 2 grossing summer movies will be this and Fantastic Four.
Yeah. For me though, PJ, with Superman, I just feel with James Gunn, part of me feels maybe this is the cynical side of me because I think there's so much pressure on this guy because if this movie falters,
oh my God, his career's over.
I wouldn't say his career's over, but I think this DC universe thing is gonna fall apart.
The next movie after Superman in the DC universe is Supergirl, by the way.
Right.
So we're doubling down on the super before we get to anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bold strategy. You'll see how it works. But I feel this with that amount of pressure, like, do people really want it? We'll see. But for me, PJ, with this, I wouldn't be surprised if I feel disappointed. I'm like, oh man, like it was all right. Like it was fine. I think
I think there's going to be 2 schools of thought on this movie. And I think it will be very polarizing, much like Man of Steel was, but in a different way.
I don't think it's polarizing in that.
I think it will be polarizing in a different way because I think the people that someone like me, right, who I always compare every one of these movies to the comic books, I think I'll like it because it'll feel more like a comic book. I think your average moviegoer is going to dislike this movie more than someone like me will.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the comic book stuff. I think it's like if it's faithful to, I think it's just like, is it a good movie or not? Is it great?
I think the movie itself will, from a technical aspect and all that and the storytelling aspect, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be good. I really don't worry about that so much. James Gunn is a good writer. It's not going to be written poorly. And I think he's a good director. I mean, the Guardians movies aren't bad because they're directed badly. In my opinion, they're bad, but some people love those movies, right? I don't think it's going to be a quality issue. I think if you want to just see a good, straightforward movie, I think people will probably think it's fine. The polarizing aspect is going to be Snyder fans versus non-Snyder fans.
Yeah.
And the thing with the Snyderverse people is they like their movie because it doesn't feel like the comic books. The people that's why a lot of people like those Snyderverse movies. If you ever go online, everyone tells you how much they hate Superman, and Snyder got it right because they didn't make him a beacon of light. They didn't make him hope. They didn't make him colorful. That's why they're so good. That's what the Snyderverse people say. And that's why this is going to be polarizing because you're getting the exact opposite of what Man of Steel was. the question really is, to the Snyderverse people, are they enough to make this movie fail?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're giving too much credit to the Snyderverse people. I think some people just want to die on that hill because they enjoyed it. I think those movies objectively are just not good. The Snyderverse films are just not good. So I think we're just wrapping up with James Gunn. It's huge pressure. I wouldn't want to be him. I'll tell you that.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't
Oh
want
man,
to-
that guy is the
What-
worst. The only person that is ever going to feel as much pressure as this guy right now is the next guy that has to fix Star Wars. That's the only guy that'll ever feel this much
And
pressure.
I think they just announced I think their trailer's coming for Grogu and that.
Did they?
Grogu, Mandalorian,
Jesus.
what the heck it is. But moving right along, folks, in July, it's another reboot.
Jesus.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I think Jennifer Love Hewitt is returning.
Is she really?
I think so. I really think she's making, or a cameo, kind
Oh
of
my
like the Scream
God.
films. But
She can't be she can't possibly be the one like
Yeah.
getting hunted by
No,
this
I
guy.
think she might have a cameo. But I think it's gonna make just as much money as the movie Megan that's coming out the month before. In
I think
June.
it'll do better. I think nostalgia will bring people in on this
Yeah,
one.
yep. So
All those Scream reboots always do pretty good.
yeah, those movies. The last one was so bad. We did a review of it. Listen to it, folks.
It's going to bring in the same people because it's the same time period.
Yeah.
I think it'll do fine.
Actually, I heard they're actually going to reboot the Scream films because Jenna Ortega left. That other girl got in trouble. She got canceled, so they're just basically redoing it.
I
you
heard
know.
Neve Hamill's coming back.
Yeah, I think she's coming back, but they're like rebooting like the sequels, whatever.
We just
so.
don't need any more Scream movies. How about that?
Why don't you just take the idea of Scream and just put it with the new family that there's a copycat killer and has nothing to do with Nev Campbell anymore?
What if we just don't make a Scream
or
movie?
that? Right,
And
I'm
we
just
just come up
saying.
with a new horror movie.
Right, I
It
agree
doesn't
with
have to
that,
be
but I'm
that
just
bad.
saying for them, like you could do that. You don't have to have her connected to it.
It doesn't have to be the Ghostface anymore, either.
Right. Well, no, that's the
It doesn't
selling
have
point.
to be.
If you're a studio guy, a studio head, you need to have those things. But
No, but
That's
I
a
just
cra-
feel
yeah.
like there's so many. And
Hey, I
and only
agree.
two of
I
them are
agree.
good.
I'm talking this as a studio person. If I was a studio head, I'd be like, look, we can leave Nev Campbell. She dropped dead tomorrow. That series can still continue. You don't have to do Sydney. You can have the killer. Anyone can wear it. That's the whole great about the costume. Is anyone can be. It's like Batman. Anyone can become Batman.
Maybe they should change the color to red. Maybe the Scream mask should be red this time.
Right. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
We can sell more masks.
PJ, there's another sequel, and it's also a musical now. It's the Untitled Smurfs animated musical.
Is
So-
Rihanna a Smurf in this one? Is that?
Oh,
what I
I didn't
read?
even know. Oh, I didn't even know I feel like she's been like in a quiet, like semi-quiet, like.
I'm gonna
Like
IMDb
hiatus,
this because
you know what I
I
mean?
think she might be in the new Smurf movie.
Oh
Hold
wow!
on, let's see.
Isn't that
'Cause there's
funny?
I think this movie has like a supposedly a good cast.
Right. Mhm.
Let's see.
What's-
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong. Let's see. We have Hannah Waddingham. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
John Goodman's gonna be Papa Smurf.
Okay.
Amy Sedaris is gonna be in it. Natasha Lyonne, Kurt Russell, Ken Offerman, Sandra Billy Lord, Zolo Maraduena. That's the guy from Blue Beetle and Cobra Kai.
Well,
Dan Lee. Maybe she's not in it. Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie for Rihanna. Dan Levy, Octavia Spencer, Nick Kroll, Alex Winter. Oh no, James Corden. Rihanna is Smurfette. Rihanna is going to be Smurfette. J.P. Carliak. I don't know who that is Gargamel. This has got, for a Smurf movie, an all-star cast.
yeah,
It's going to be terrible.
we'll see. We'll see. Imagine made that live action. That'd
Oh
be
my
something.
God. They did a live-action Smurf movie.
I don't even remember. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
It
yeah,
had
yeah.
Neil
Yes.
Patrick Harris in it.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the Smurfs weren't real because they couldn't find any little blue people.
Right.
This is being directed by Chris Miller, who I think is actually I think I saw Chris Miller directing it. Hold on. Let's double check that. Yeah, directed by Chris Miller. I want to see if he's directed. It's not easy to direct an animated film.
All right.
So I want to see if he has any. He does not. This looks like his first thing that he's. Oh no, maybe he has more. He directed Puss in Boots, Shrek the
Oh,
Third.
okay. All right.
Did
All right,
he
so-
direct? Oh no, he directed the video game for Aliens versus Predator, but not the actual movie.
Okay, I heard that game's actually good from what I heard.
Maybe he could
All
do
right.
a good job at it.
Yeah. We'll
I
see.
still don't think it's gonna be that great.
Yeah. Well, it'll be cute. It'll be like the movie Trolls. you know,
Yeah.
I think it's actually a good idea they focus on musicals. Usually those movies like Sing, they do well.
A little better.
Um,
Yeah.
The next big one is Fantastic Four: First Steps. I hate that name, First Steps. Um,
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
really
know.
know why it's called First Steps. I'm sure
Yeah,
it'll
I'm not really excited
become
about
maybe
it.
they'll.
You know,
I think the
I've been,
trailer looked great. You might even
yeah,
say the trailer looked fantastic, but I like the fact that it's set seemingly in
I
the
like that.
60s.
I think there's some things that are good about it. I don't really love the casting. I'm sick of. I mean, look, I never even seen Pedro Pascal in a lot of movies. I just don't feel
He
like.
is a big miscast.
I just, you
He's not
know,
Reed Richards to
I don't.
me.
Yeah,
The
I don't
guy
know why.
who's doing the voice of Ben Grimm sounds fine. He doesn't matter what he looks like because he's
Yeah,
not going to be
yeah,
there.
that stuff is fine, but I don't know. Part of me just almost has like no interest in this film. I really don't. I don't really have unless it gets stellar reviews, I'll go see it in theaters. But other than that, I'm
I
not gonna.
This is
I
probably
don't
the
know.
Marvel movie I'm looking forward to the most since the original like lineup. Like after Endgame, this
Yeah,
is probably the one I've looked forward to the most since Endgame. Is this
yeah.
one? I like the Fantastic Four as a concept. I like the comic books. I think a lot of this movie will fall on a few things. The success of this movie. One is going to be Ben Grimm. People have strong feelings about what he needs to look and sound like. It's just, and this goes back to Michael Chiklis, right? People have strong opinions on like what that character should look and sound like. I think a lot of it will fall on if they get clearly Galactus is in it because we saw
I
the
gotta say,
shadow.
I think if the most important thing is a villain, and you need to have a good villain. The movie has to be good. It has those things have to be good. We know the characters, we know their story, blah blah
How do you
blah.
feel about the new Silver Surfer?
I don't know. For me, it's like I don't even at this point. I don't even care. I just want to be like, can we just? I think there's too many. I don't want too many character syndrome. You know what I mean? I wish to just be about the Fantastic Four, and understand how Silver Surfer works. But I don't know. I just hope that character Silver Surfer is man or woman. I don't even care. I just don't want them to be a big part in the story. I want it to be like just like a boop, like small. I don't want it to be this thing, and they have to become friends, and uh,
Well,
you know what I
you
mean?
mean
That's
you can't
just.
get to Galactus without Silver Surfer,
I
so I
know.
feel like Silver Surfer is gonna have a bigger role than you want. I don't know that I would have started with Galactus. I almost feel like you start with Mole Man, but you you have a Fantastic Four movie. You almost doing a disservice to yourself without having Doom in there somehow. Are we gonna have Robert Downey Jr. as Doom in this movie? Is he gonna show up as Doom? Like the whole thing about the Fantastic Four is they fight Doctor Doom and they fight Galactus. Those are the two big ones. And Galactus feels like you could have made that the big threat that everyone comes together for.
Yeah.
Because it so to
I
start with four.
I agree, man. I agree with everything you just said. I think Galactus wasn't a good idea. That's why I'm like not turned on. Like this seems like a blunder. Like I don't know.
I love Herbie the robot. I
Yeah,
like
all
that we're
that
getting
stuff is
Herbie.
fine.
Like
All that crap is fine, but it just seems like you're putting all your eggs in one basket to have the big baddie at the end. You're having Silver Surfer in it. Like then I guess we're gonna find out with Doomsday. These guys are gonna fight him there. Like you said, I should have had him fighting Galactus. Like a
well, this movie I don't think takes place in the same
uh,
universe that
isn't
the
he?
regular movies
Wasn't
take
he
place in.
one of the chairs in Doomsday?
Who?
That
Which one? Well,
Pedro,
yeah,
Pedro.
yeah, but
So it's
there's
like
no
a
way this movie.
multi-universe. I know
There's
what you're
no.
saying. Right, right,
It's going to
right.
be a multiverse thing, and at some point,
All right. I
what
see
are
what
they
you're
calling
saying.
it? I forget. I forget
Oh
what they
my
call it.
God.
An insurgent or whatever it was that they were calling it when they.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? And it's going to be at some point they have to go to jump to another universe because theirs is destroyed, and then
Mhm.
that's how you're going to get the Fantastic Four in the regular Marvel universe.
Yeah.
That's what's
Well,
going to happen with this movie. I think that's the only way it makes any sense. And it's just like that I don't have any stakes to care about what happens to this earth anyway. So
yeah.
just let Galactus eat it and let's move on.
Yeah. Well, so I'm not really excited about
I
this
do
one.
think it'll be entertaining though. I actually am looking
Yeah, maybe.
forward
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would really love a good Fantastic Four movie because we haven't had a good Fantastic Four movie. And they're the first family of Marvel. They deserve
Right.
it.
And I think the way I've got this information from, I think Superman is released before Fantastic
I
Four.
think it's like a week or two before. It's real
Yeah.
close.
So part of me feels if Superman for some reason does not do well, Fantastic Four is not going to do well. You know, and that sounds kind of stupid, but
See, I think it's going to be the opposite. I think if Superman does really well the first week, then more people are going to want to see that Superman movie, and Fantastic Four slips. I think if Superman does really badly, then everyone's like, oh, you know what? We'll go to Fantastic Four. There's no reason for me to go see Superman. You know what I mean? I think the worse Superman does, the better Fantastic Four does. The better Superman does, the worse Fantastic Four does. I also think, what were these studios thinking with the release dates of these movies? Why would you put two big comic book movies that have to compete with each other?
That's why I'm saying it's such a weird thing.
It's a weird release schedule.
I don't know. Maybe they talked to you. Let's try to do a Barbenheimer thing again, like a Super Four. Whatever.
Maybe, but I just feel like that was an odd pick because Marvel and DC are competitors. So the fact that I don't know. Superman has the name, right? People know Fantastic Four. Like a regular person knows who they are, but a regular person knows Superman. So you got to feel like that has the edge. I don't know. Either way, I think one of these should have came out in June.
Yep.
That's what I think.
So, PJ, we got one more for July, then I kind of want to. We can kind of blaze through the next couple of months. I know there's some big ones in the next couple of months, but just to kind of go somewhat rapid fire. So, next one is only Netflix release. It's another sequel, folks.
Oh my God.
The Happy Gilmore 2.
All but one of these have been sequels, reboots, or remakes so far.
Yeah. So, in terms of the big films, for me, the Happy Gilmore, just from the trailer, I think my brother said it best, Uncle Rob. Looks very straight to DVD. It has that Netflix like film over it.
Yeah.
It feels like it's not going to be the first one was so great because like it was like kind of raunchy, it was like it had so much attitude and like
the question is, who is this movie for?
Right. And I just feel like they're gonna hold back on and I hope they just don't do like they do the same jokes like get back into your hole. Like I want him to do new and I actually don't. For me, I'm hoping PJ, but I'm negative. I was hoping that they were gonna do a Rocky 2, like where, do a Rocky 3 where, you would have Shooter McGavin train him. Yes, I think that would be funny. Where like you had this new foe that Happy Gilmore has to go against, and he goes, there's only one person I know who can teach me that shot, and it has to be Shooter McGavin. And Shooter's like, why would I help you? You ruined my career.
Right.
But now we're just getting like another, was he gonna get revenge against him 30 years later? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it could have worked. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen the film, but I think it would have worked better if you would have had him become his like mentor. Maybe at the end they become friends. Like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
But I think that could have been funnier because they could have had a guy they both hate and they both had to team up to beat this guy or girl. You know
what I think would have made this movie a lot better? If they didn't make it.
Yes. Woo! But we don't know if it's gonna make money because it's on Netflix.
Oh, we'll never know how it does because Netflix won't tell you.
Right, and I'll
probably watch it because it is on Netflix. There's no reason not to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just can't imagine it's going to be that good.
Yep. I feel it's going to be a very short film. All comedy should be.
It's going to be 90 minutes, I think. I think
it's going to be less than 90
You think it's going to be less than 90 minutes?
Like an hour and 25 minutes.
Oh, my God.
But we'll see.
Let's see if the runtime is online. I'm going to look it up. Happy Gilmore 2 runtime. It can't be less than 90 minutes. Let's see if it says Happy Gilmore.
Maybe I'm being dramatic, but part of me feels
I don't think they have it set yet. Doesn't seem to say.
That might work to its benefit. If it's shorter, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Yeah, I don't think it has the runtime listed anywhere yet. Oh my God, can you imagine if this movie is going to be?
Yeah,
it's like an hour. It's like an episode of TV, and
it's. You ever see the movie real quick? You ever see the wonderful Burt Wonderstone? And it's Steve Carell. There's one part in the movie I think it's like the best part. It's kind of like it's really not the main storyline, but it's when he goes against Jim Carrey. And I think it's probably Jim Carrey's last. I haven't seen the Sonic films, but his performance in the movie is hilarious. You know, and I kind of feel like you could do that with this, like have him have Jim Carrey or someone like be a foe, but they're not gonna do that.
Nope, not on Netflix. They don't have money for that.
Yep. So we're going into August now, and PJ, we got more sequels.
Oh my God.
And we got more reboots. Real quick, we have The Bad Guys 2, which is an animated film. I like the first one. The first one's cute.
Which is the first one?
It's from like all the bad animals are like they're like
Okay,
bank
okay,
robbers and they have to,
okay. Yes,
it's
all
a
right.
cute film. So I'm sure the second one will be just as good, just as cute. Moving right along, I'm actually excited for this, PJ. It's the new reboot of the Gun films. I'm just really happy about having a comedy film released in theaters. I can't remember
Yeah,
the
they don't
last
do that
one.
anymore.
Exactly. So I think Seth MacFarlane's producing it. I like Liam Neeson. I think he has a good comedy flair in him. He's playing the son of Leslie Nielsen. So
Liam Neeson is playing
yes.
the son of Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, that's what the trailer showed. And
Wow, I didn't watch the trailer yet.
yeah, I mean, look, it was cute. I'm hoping that the movie has a lot of gags. If you know the Naked Gun film,
Yeah,
it's gag after
that's
gag, and
crazy. I'm just trying to look it up now to see
I hope
who else
they
is in this movie. That's written, directed by Akiva Schaffer. I don't know who that is. The cast's got a couple of good people in it: Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson, Paul Walter Hauser.
yeah.
It says Cody Rhodes.
Okay, yeah,
The
like I said,
wrestler Cody Rhodes is in this movie.
yeah. So like I said, like just like the other films, they've always been like a gag after
Yeah, yeah,
gag.
yeah.
That's how they work.
I
Um,
do want to see this. I enjoy
yeah.
I enjoy it.
hmm
The original ones. Hopefully it's good.
I'm definitely betting my money they're gonna make a joke about Taken. I mean, you have to.
They have
Um,
to.
so
Yeah, I want to see that one probably. I hope it's as good.
yes,
Hopefully like a midget at a urinal, it keeps me on my toes.
yeah, yeah. Um, just going is another reboot. Excuse me, another sequel. Freakier Friday, which is a sequel to Freaky
Oh,
Friday, which reunites Jamie Lee Curtis with what's her name?
with Lindsay Lohan.
Thank you. There's not much to say. It's probably them switching their bodies again at an older age. Okay.
I think this introduces a granddaughter now.
Uh,
So I think Lindsay Lohan has a kid in this movie. And I don't know if all three of them switch.
probably. Okay. Okay.
I think maybe it does. I don't remember the trailer. Maybe the Lindsay Lohan switches with her daughter and the daughter switches with the grandmother or something like that, maybe. It's gonna be
Okay.
some bullshit.
Okay.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna see that one. I have zero interest in watching
Yeah,
it.
that one. Yeah. I think it'll make money. It'll break even, I think. Then we're in September, guys. We're now, like I said, this has been the all these movies that I'm talking about. There's a lot of finales in September. We have the Conjuring finale, thank God. Then we have Downtown Abbey, the grand finale. So thank God. Not much to say about that, folks.
Yeah, I have
we
no
know,
interest in either
yep,
one of them.
we know what we're getting, and they're the final ones of their series.
No, it's September. Everyone's back to school. No one has time to see a movie, so they
Yep.
put out two movies nobody cares about in September.
Yep. I want to talk about before we talk to PJ. I know he's going to lose his mind over this one, but we're going to talk about real quick. In October, we have Mortal Kombat 2. I hated the first one.
Awful.
That one was
I mean, it was
horrendous.
awful.
That was awful. I don't even know how they need to reboot that movie. I still love the one from the 90s. I think it still holds up. I don't care what anyone says.
The first one, anyway.
Yes, the first. Yeah, that's the first one. The first one works. I don't care what anyone says. It works.
I agree. I like the first one.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what they're gonna do. That movie's gonna bomb, I believe.
Oh, it's gonna be so. The first one is so bad. I don't love the casting for Johnny Cage.
I don't even know who they got.
They got what's his face, Judge Dredd. I think.
Oh, yeah. I know. Is it Josh Dumont? That's not his name.
No. It's
I know. I can't. Is it Carl Urban? Is it him? That's his name.
Yeah. Carl Urban. I think he doesn't give me Johnny Cage vibes at all.
They should have. He's really more of like a Kano. I think Kano's dead now, but
yeah. They need someone that's supposed to be someone young and cocky and like not Carl Urban, who I like as an actor. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Just not the role for him, I don't think. And the first one was so bad. I can't.
Horrendous.
Who watched that movie was like, let's do this again? Like, I don't.
Oh my God.
I don't think it's gonna be good at all.
No way.
Ugh.
The other movie, the big movie that we're half excited about is in October, Tron Ares.
I think we're excited about the soundtrack.
I'm exactly because Nine Inch Nails. I love Nine Inch Nails. So Trent Reznor,
Great soundtrack. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yep.
The movie though.
Right, and everyone loved Tron Legacy's soundtrack, which was by Daft Punk. So, PJ, let me just say this, because I know you have a lot to say about this movie, Tron. So, the original Tron from the 80s is the definition of a cult following.
Yeah.
Cult movies originally meant. This was a movie that only. It wasn't a great movie. It was just there's like a cult of people who just really loved it. We know it's
Right.
flawed, but we loved it. And
There's like-
somehow, some way, Disney said, "Hey, we know we're not doing this for this cult, but this property is cool. The idea of getting into a computer and blah 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 blah, that's cool. You know, and the light cycle, all that stuff is cool, no doubt. Tron Legacy, I thought was very boring. I thought the lead
I couldn't
actor
even
was
say what
very-
happened in that movie.
Yeah, it was just. I mean, like I didn't really love the colors of the blue and orange. I guess I can't do the red and blue from the first one, that kind of teal thing. But anyway, I did like the special effects were fine. They were cool, you know.
Yeah, it looked good,
but
but
the story, I can't even tell you what it was. It was so
I think it was something about
forgettable.
his son gets sucked into the
Yeah,
game or some shit,
I don't know.
and then Olivia Wilde shows up,
Yeah, I think
and
you know, for me, I think you and I always talk about this. When you do movies like this, you got to make it simple and let the action and the effects make that kind of movie. You know, that's what you didn't. When you add too much story to a movie like this, it starts to bog it down. On that movie,
yeah,
like they
it's not
gotta go.
about
Yeah, they
the
gotta go.
story.
To,
It's
they
more
gotta
about it's the
exactly.
cool factor. It's about the cool factor.
Yeah, and there's nothing
And
wrong with that. That's
no, there's
this
nothing
movie
wrong
kind
with
of
it.
lends to it. Because when you
I don't
start
know if
adding
there's
more mythology and like they got to do this and that, that's why
No.
the first one, the original one, that was kind of clunky in a way.
But what worked about the first one is that came out during like an age of arcades.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
you know what I mean? So like everyone was at arcades and they're playing the games, and then they have
Yeah.
a movie about it, and it kind of works out. I think once you lose that culture, there's no arcades really anymore.
Yeah.
What's the point of this movie? Who is this movie for?
And it feels like it's been like a decade since the last one. I don't know if Disney's doing this because they just came out with their.
They came out with a new ride. They need to hype.
Yeah,
They need to have people
yeah,
go to the
so,
park. The
I mean, I
last one
do.
came out, I think it was more than a decade. Hold on, I will let you
Oh
know.
my God! Well,
All right,
folks who are
let's see.
seeing this, it's the. I guess it's the teaser trailer. It's watching.
Tron 2 came out in 2010.
Wow. Okay, so 15 years ago. So that's unbelievable. In this one, Jared Leto's in it.
Oh, great.
I think Jared Leto is a really great actor. I don't love him in lead roles. I think he does better in smaller roles, but anyway, supporting roles. But anyway, he's in this. He plays, one of the guys who's like, riding. I'm assuming riding one of the light cycles. And this, which I do like this. I guess the world of Tron enters the real world because in the trailer,
Right, that's what it
they're
looks
driving
like.
the light, which is cool. I like that. That's a good dynamic. I like that.
Have they said if Jeff Bridges is in this?
I believe so. I think he's in it. Yeah, but I'm not. Like I said, I didn't like the second one at all. It's completely. It's like one of those movies what I call that you want to love it because you love like the property, let's say, but it's just too disappointing no matter what. Like some people just like they love their friends. They just are just like people
know-
who love Harry Potter. Like those fantastic. Besides the first Fantastic Beasts, those sequels are terrible in that series of Fantastic. And I
I'm gonna
love
tell-
Harry Potter.
yeah,
but
I'm
those
gonna tell you what
movies
this movie
stink.
reminds me of. It reminds me of Speed Racer. Do you remember when Speed Racer? You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what this movie looks like.
I think the Wachowskis did that movie,
They did.
which was
Yeah.
a blunder. Yeah. I think that movie actually hurt Emile Hirsch's career. I think that guy's a very good actor too.
I think so too.
Which is a shame because I think the Speed Racer property could be really good. You have just practical effects, have a car, blah 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 blah. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But that's what that's what this movie feels like to me. Like
yeah,
a lot of just, I don't know, bloat on a screen.
yeah. So, but we know the soundtrack's going to be banging.
The soundtrack will be great. Best part of the movie.
And then lastly, just to ramble things off, and thanks for folks for sticking with us through this upcoming previews and reactions is for November. So I'm excited for this. I haven't even seen this is another sequel. It's Predator Badlands. So I love Predator. I love Predator. I actually haven't seen Prey because at the time
Prey was pretty good. I like Prey.
now I have Disney. I think it's on Hulu because at the time they
Yeah.
never, I couldn't believe they didn't release it to theaters. But now because it was such a hit on
Yeah, this one I think is going
Streaming.
to the theaters now.
yeah. So but
You're
I
gonna
had
like
to see-
Prey when you watch it. You're gonna like it.
So and I believe Badlands. I think it takes place. So they're doing a thing which I think is smart with Predator. Is they're doing a different time period. So they did it with Native American. I think this one might be like maybe like the Old West potentially.
I think that's what
Yeah.
that's what I heard. It's like
So-
cowboys and predators.
Yeah. So it should
Which
be.
sounds great. Like
Yeah. Which they always should have done with the Predator films is put it in different. Anyway, so I'm excited for that. And PJ, we have another remake. another reboot.
Oh my god!
And I
so
love the
many.
original, and I'm somewhat excited because it's The Running Man. So, folks at home, The Running Man was starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is based off a Stephen King book. I think at the time Stephen King used a different name under a different name, so
Yeah.
it's more action oriented. But I love the original Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's so much fun. I think in the new Running Man, it's Glenn Powell. I think Josh Brolin's in it.
I got to tell you what, I'm getting tired of that guy.
Who, Josh Brolin?
Glenn Powell.
Yeah, well, hey, he had his breakout role, and he's gonna
And now
capitalize.
he's everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm a little. For me, I think he's more tolerable than Pedro Pascal because I feel like he's in movies that he should be in. You know.
I feel like these people have one big role, and then Hollywood saturates the market with them.
PJ, there's an old saying: you only need to be successful once.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it goes.
This is how you get more Chris Pratts.
Right, exactly. Where I think Chris Pratt is he's another guy who's been totally overused.
Exactly.
Way overused. After The Running Man, folks, the rest is all sequels for November. There's other movies I've obviously, folks, but the big ones we have Now You See Me 3.
I'm actually hoping that's good.
I've never seen the first, so I heard they're very charming. And
yeah, the first one is. The second one's not as good, but it's still okay. I hope this one's good.
All right. So we have that. Then we have, I know PJ's very excited for this, Wicked for Good. The Wicked 2.
For fuck's sake.
Wow. So it's coming back, PJ. And if you listen to I can't remember if we reviewed, I can't recall, but all I know is I didn't realize they were making a sequel. They were splitting this movie into 2 movies.
Because that's what the world needs. Just I did not more know. Of this.
But yeah, Wicked is having it's part 2 of Wicked. So I guess it says Wicked for Good. So that's
the last one.
As we know, hopefully it's the please. But they're gonna, this is when she, I guess, permanently stays wicked. I think, how I understand how it works. The Wicked Witch of the West, and then wraps up with. Have you ever seen the Broadway play of Wicked? No, my wife saw it. She really liked it. Yeah.
Okay, I've seen it and I hate it because I hate everything Wizard of Oz.
Right.
So I feel like I already know how this is going to end, so I didn't have to see this anyway. But it's going to make all the fucking money twice.
Yeah.
And I hope once again it gets no Oscars for it.
But PJ, you know what I'm excited for? Because we get the sequel to Wicked for Good. We also see a sequel, how Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, how their press conferences are going to be. I really hope they're just as good, man. I really hope. Oh my God. That'd be amazing, bro. I really hope that'd be amazing. That would take.
If they could figure out a way to just squeeze Snow White into this movie, and we could just get that actress in there, we'll be good to go.
Oh my God!
The marketing for Wicked was vomit-inducing.
Right, and right. So I'm excited for that part too.
Which marketing made you angrier, Snow White or Wicked?
I think it was Snow White for sure, but I think I was at least amused by Wicked. I thought that was hilarious. And then lastly, folks, we have another sequel. Ending things off. The last sequel is Zootopia 2.
I like the first one.
I love the first one.
I think it was great. The sloths are great.
Do we need a second one?
Nope.
No, but here we are. So, folks, thanks for hanging with us with this long upcoming things. But yeah, I think, PJ, let me ask you this question.
We have like 27 movies on this list. Only one of them wasn't a sequel.
So I think it was what, F1, right?
It's the only one that's not a sequel.
Yeah, I think. Oh my God, yeah, it's only F1. The rest are all sequels on this list. Wow, or remakes.
Do you think new thought in Hollywood?
Right. So, do you think this, to end things off? Do you think these movies? Do you think this lineup is better than last summer's lineup?
You know what? I do.
Me too. Absolutely. I'm absolutely more. Last summer was like we were struggling to get through. There are several movies on this list
that I do have at least some interest in watching.
Yeah, it's more exciting. No question. Yeah. No question.
But do you think these movies are exciting enough to bring people back to the theaters?
I think they're gonna. I think it's gonna be a better box office compared to last year, and I don't think it's gonna make any significant impacts in terms of people getting back to the theaters, like in terms of maintaining it. But I think
July is gonna be big for the movie theaters. Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, May
I think a big month.
Right, May is going to be a bust. I feel like. I mean, I shouldn't say a bust. It's not gonna kick it off because I remember when we were kids. I remember Spider-Man, the one with Tobey Maguire, started in May. That movie was like May 5th. And I remember that whole summer, I can't recall, but there was banger after banger that
Yeah.
summer. And this, I feel like the movies, the film industry is not going to really start cooking until July, which is
Yeah.
always the case with summer movies. But yeah. But yeah, I think
do
it's
feel like
definitely,
they loaded up July. They could have spread that out. Like I said,
yeah.
either Superman or Fantastic Four should have been June.
Mhm.
If it was me, if I was Warner Brothers, right, I would have put Superman out in June, because if you have Thunderbolts in May, getting people into like actiony kind
Yeah.
of summer blockbuster movies, and then they're not tired out from it yet because it's only the one. Hop in your Superman movie. Let people get tired out before they get to Fantastic Four. If I'm Warner Brothers,
Yeah. No, I agree.
I think some of the release dates were a misfire on some of these movies, but hey, it's also the summer and no one's in school, so there's plenty of time to go see movies. And
Yep. Hmm. Well, PJ, we're gonna be here to witness it, and we're gonna enjoy it, hopefully. And
we're gonna review so many of these. We'll be at episode 200 by the time we review all these movies.
Right, exactly. Thanks for listening, guys. Same time, same table.
Have a good one.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.